Well, today I'm gonna talk about Reflex anti-cheat. When I first checked it out, I didn't think much of it, but the more I looked into it, the scummier it got. In the title of the Spigot MC page, it states that it's a machine learning cheat detection. Now, in its description, it states that the main advantage of Reflex is probably machine learning. Reflex can learn from players' behavior. Trained data is then used by Reflex to detect any combat anomalies. This works nearly perfectly against any combat hack. Reflex collects much data of a player's behavior in fight, processes it and compares it to known datasets to find out if a player is possibly hacking. This is not machine learning. This is nowhere near machine learning. This is just comparing it to already pre-made datasets. This is something completely different. But moving on. Now, another concept that was pointed out is the fact that there's cloud computing. Now, in the cloud computing page, you can actually pay, so the cheat detection is done on their servers, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Well, let's talk about the checks. The moment you join on the server, you're gonna be warned that they don't actually focus on their movement checks, which seems like Reflex was made so you can run it alongside another anti-cheat, like for instance AC or a Spartan for movement checks. And honestly, for $10 that would have been pretty cool to have like good combat checks alongside some good movement checks from another anti-cheat. That would sound pretty fucking cool, especially when they claim so much that it's lagless. Now, the combat checks false flag a lot more than you expected. There's a lot of footage of me just being flagged for kill aura. Now, one thing that adds to me being detected is the fact that, well, there's a lot of lag on the server, which completely negates the lagless claim that they've got in the description, especially on their own test server. So obviously they moved heaven and earth to get this performance, but that was not good enough to handle one player. And it seems like the anti-cheat really likes to flag a lot when there's lag on the server, and not only that, but it likes to false flag in general, which is not something that happens anywhere near as much with any other anti-cheat, apart from AC maybe. Now, another thing that is worth pointing out is that there's already pretty good bypasses in free clients like Liquid Bounce for anti-knockback and Scaffold. And one sad thing about it is that it's perhaps as good at detecting legit players as it is to detecting cheaters. Now, another thing worth pointing out is the fact that they've got reviews. They have 5 stars on the main page. There's been reviews like a few months ago, like for instance this one is from April 4th, requesting it to work on 1.15.2. So yeah, there's definitely quite a lot of misconception. There's definitely a lot of reviewers that just review 5 stars on plugins. So I've got this comment from Not on my Godseye video. He's been going like, yo, check my reviews, everyone is saying that they're satisfied with the product. A lot of people just review 5 stars to pretty much everything, as shown in the example. Another thing worth pointing out is that a lot of times when people say that the anti-cheat isn't performing good, the owner just says that the false positives are caused by config error, which kind of reminds me of CSGO pay-to-cheats. They just claim that everything that they do wrong is because of config error and is not actually their fault. Now, speaking of their fault, let's talk about optimization. Now, again, they claimed earlier that it's lagless and that it's gonna maintain itself on 20 ticks all the time. If you just scroll down to cloud computing, they're gonna say that you should note that the machine learning component and some other reflex analysis are slow and use a lot of CPU. Then how would you say it's lagless when you just claim right now that it's gonna take up a lot of resources and it's gonna cause lag? That just doesn't add up to me. That just seems like you're trying to rip people off and sell them another product. Now, obviously, if they actually want to claim that it's lagless, they could actually prove that on the test server, but the test server is a laggy mess. Even with just me playing on it, there's been a lot of hiccups and quite a lot of lag spikes. And that really doesn't fare well when the anti-cheat flags a lot when there's lag. Now, in conclusion, I think the anti-cheat isn't worth your money because first, it lacks detections, there's barely any, only for combat checks and perhaps some scaffold checks along them. But the detections that it already has are pretty fucking bad. Like they're nowhere near perfect. And honestly, if you're gonna use an anti-cheat, you should use AC. It's way better optimized, even though it's kinda unoptimized itself. It's got pretty okay movement checks and pretty okay combat checks. But yeah, Reflex, for now, I don't think it's something that I would honestly use, especially for $10 and another subscription on top for cloud computing. But yeah, that's only my take on this. I definitely hope the developers are gonna answer more politely than Godseye, who just struck my video after calling me a lot of pathetic things. In the end, that's just my take on the anti-cheat, so I really want to see what you guys have to say about it, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.